Good morning, everyone. What's up? Today is Monday. It is Monday, October the 24th, 2022. And it's time for today's headlines, a little bit of recap and a little bit of extra. We're going to mix it all together. I see you, Marion Jackson. Good morning. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Regina. Good morning, Kenny Stanley. I already spoke to you in the green room. Good morning, Shirley Nicholson. Good morning, Rosanna Bivens. Good morning, Patricia Lyles. Good morning, Lori Wallace. Good morning, Camille Jones. I saw more of you come in here. I believe my brother came in here, Lewis Pryor. I believe Shirley Nicholson came in here as well. Good morning to everyone who's listening by audio. We're just so excited that you decided to spend a little bit of time with us on this morning. We have a lot of news we need to cover. A lot of news popped off after we signed off on Thursday. I see you, Latrice. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. Good morning. It is so excited to be with all of you today. A couple of announcements, some exciting announcements. I want to give a shout out to our audio engineer, Gina Winks. She and I were having meetings last week, and we came together. It was her brainchild. Got to give her a shout out about this. She says, "Hey, let's add some more platforms." I said, "Girl, you're already driving me crazy." I said, "We just hit Twitter. If you all do not know, we are now on Twitter. This is week 2 on Twitter. So everyone who's joining us by Twitter, we just want to say thank you and a shout out to you. We also just want to give a little bit of information. The main chat is on the Facebook page. So just go to facebook.com/NewsInMotion. That's the main chat. But chat comes in from YouTube. We'll get chats from LinkedIn. We're starting to get a few chats from the Twitter, from Twitter, and then we have other chats. So what I try to do is to, when I'm going through the chat thread, to come and bring you into the conversation so we can all enjoy the conversation together. So what Gina decided to do, and I didn't even know this was possible, but she was looking at some things. She said, "You do know we can launch this again on every platform that is out there." And I said, "What does that look like?" And my second question was, "How much does that cost?" And she says, "Look," she goes, "let's first just strategize to see how we can get it out there." So starting today on every podcast platform available, because we've been on there. We have so many downloads. We now have availability to be on every podcast platform. So we're not going to just do the podcast on Friday. That podcast on Friday will come to an end this Friday. We will take a break from the Friday podcast and come back January 2023 on the podcast, because we're making a transition. The podcast on Friday will now be called The Audacious Advocate with Gail Dudley. Monday through Thursday, they will now get News in Motion live at this hour on every podcast available. So y'all just be with us as we're broadening this and putting it out there. Gina believes it's going to be the perfect thing for us as we continue everywhere else. So at this point, starting today, Monday through Thursday, we are on every platform that is any type of digital platform. So we're real excited. So welcome, everyone. Many of you who are listening through the podcast, you're going to hear the audio. So you now have joined the other audio listeners. If you're wanting to chat or send us an email, you can send an email to us at newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. Again, that's newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. I see you, Adrian, coming in from YouTube. Latrice Jones says, "Enlarge your territory, sis." Look, I'm a little nervous, but Gina believes that it's going to be the thing that she believes at work. She was talking to a lot of people who they really aren't on Facebook, or they're not on YouTube, and they don't desire to be. And she says, "You're missing an audience." I told her, "Okay, let's do it." I see you, Tracy Burrs. Good morning. Good morning, Jeffrey Allen James. Dr. Antoinette says, "Love it." Y'all pray for a sister. I'm a little nervous about this. I see you, Stephanie Burbridge Hall, Jacqueline. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Davia says, "I'm so proud." Listen, Davia, pray for me, because I pushed back. I said, "Gina, I don't think so. Not yet. Not yet." She says, "Yes." And then we looked at, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, y'all know we've been talking about these numbers, something I haven't been all excited about. We looked at the numbers, and she says, look, and I shared this with Davia not too long ago. She said, look, your audio listeners and your podcast listeners far outweigh the live video views of LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. She said, you're missing this. She goes, I want you to see this. I said, all right, Gina, whatever. So she ran with it. So we're doing it. Marion said, NewsInMotion. Gail, thank you for putting the email up there. What's up, Misha? Rosanna, thank y'all all for the love. So wanted to get that out the way. All right, the next bit of information that I want to share with you. Now, I'm going to be talking about Ohio. I have received so many calls, so many DMs, so many text messages over the past week that I decided to say something here now that we have a large platform. Now, this may not pertain to you exactly if you're outside of Ohio, but you may have something similar. So I want everyone to pay attention, please. Ohio issue 2 is a very interesting issue, but let me break it down for you real quick. And first of all, thank you for everyone who trusts me, who reached out to me to talk through this issue. Now, this is what it says. The proposed amendment would, Ohio issue 2, require that only a citizen of the United States who is at least 18 years of age and who has been a legal resident and registered voter for at least 30 days can vote at any state or local election held in this state. Prohibit local governments from allowing a person to vote in local elections if they are not legally qualified to vote in state elections. If passed, the amendment will be effective immediately. Y'all hear me. I'm begging you to hear me. Let's start with the 30 days. In Ohio, the last day to register to vote in this election was October the 11th. There are 31 days in October, right? All right, the election is November the 8th, okay? Which means if this passes, a person who registered to vote on October the 11th would not be able to vote in the November the 8th election because that's not 30 days, okay? The election would have to be, I think, November the 9th or 10th for them to be able to vote. All right, now that's just hypothetical. This isn't even passed yet, but I want y'all to hear this. So when you're reading this, you have to think about the voter suppression and oppression, okay? I want y'all to think about this. So if you vote yes to this, that means anyone in the next election who registers the day of, meaning the last day they could register to vote, they won't be able to vote in the election because 30 days will not have passed. And early voting. It is known that we, Black and brown people, are jumping on early voting. If it takes 24 to 48 hours to get all your paper processed, get you vetted, whatever, so you can register to vote, you wouldn't be able to do it because you are not a registered voter for 30 days. Y'all have to read these things. All right, don't believe me? Let me go to Ballotpedia. That's my go-to. Ballotpedia.org. Ohio issue 2, Citizenship Voting Requirement Amendment 2022. On Ohio issue 2, a yes. Let me explain this, and I want y'all all to go and read this for yourselves. I'll get the link to Isaiah so he can put it in there. I'll get it to him when Kenny is doing his piece. But listen, y'all, a yes vote supports prohibiting local government from allowing non-citizens or those who lack the qualifications, which is the 30 days. Don't miss this, y'all. They're using the word non-citizen, but they also say, or those who lack the qualifications. That's the 30-day minimum qualifications of an elector to vote in local elections. A no vote opposes prohibiting local governments from allowing non-citizens or those. So y'all, when y'all hear them using this argument, oh, this pertains to non-citizens. No, it doesn't, because it says, or those who lack the qualifications. That's your 30 days. I see you, Diane Ladybug. I see you, Kim Edmondson. So y'all, you have to read these issues. You have to read them and don't skip them. Don't skip them. Also in Ohio, we're dealing with this whole monopoly piece. And people are saying, girl, what does that mean? And I said, well, it's a very confusing one. And I don't have an answer. And I'll never tell y'all how to vote. That's not my place. I'm very confused about the monopoly piece. It's dealing with stockholders. It's dealing with monopoly. It's dealing with so much. And what I'm hearing when I'm reaching out to some key people who should know this, they're saying yes means no and no means yes. And then they go, I believe. No one seems to know. I've reached out to the person who has written that particular issue and they have not responded back to me. The tree says the language is always confusing on issues. I think they do it intentionally. Yeah, I believe they do. So y'all, I will get the link for Ballotpedia in there. So again, that was for Ohio, but I'm hearing that there's similar things like this being written on some of the other issues in other states. Read your ballot. Y'all do a simple ballot before you go in. Download the app Ballotpedia, or go to their main website, ballotpedia.org, to check it out for yourself. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I got that information out to you immediately. All right, in other news, y'all, we talked about this on Thursday. It wasn't 20 minutes later, our time, and Prime Minister Liz Truss has resigned after 44 days in office. That's what happened. Y'all, she's the shortest run prime minister ever. All right, y'all. Now, candidates who are vying to take the position have until 2 p.m. today, London time, to gather the support of at least 100 conservative members of parliament to run. Now, it's a particularly high bar, they're saying. There's a lot of people that are coming out the woodworks, but hey, we need to just slow down and see what's happening. They want to be able to fill this position by the 28th. I'm like, what? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do it by Friday. Yes, they are. Now, Boris Johnson, y'all remember him? The former prime minister before Prime Minister Liz Truss. He drops out the race yesterday. I said, what? You was even in the race? How could you be in the race after all the scandals? You just resigned, buddy. How are you back in the race? Well, he dropped out. He realized, I can't do this. They're still bringing up my scandals and all that stuff. You sit down. Sit down. All right, y'all. Steve Bannon was sentenced to 4 months in prison for defying a subpoena from the House panel investigating the January 6th insurrection. However, he can remain free. Get this, y'all, as he appeals to court decisions. Everybody in there just say what? How can he remain free? Did y'all get his passport? Did y'all get all his money? Did you get everything so that he won't escape and won't get out of town, won't change his body features, won't change his fingerprints? I'm going too far. Y'all watching too many movies. But listen. How is he free? Yeah. Mr. Bannon, age 68, was found guilty on 2 counts of contempt of Congress this summer after Judge Carl J. Nichols rejected an array of arguments offered by Steve Bannon's defense team, including that he was protected from being compelled to testify by executive privilege. Sit down. Just sit down. So he's out there running for, y'all know, if that was one of us, we wouldn't be able to do that. They would be like, lock her up immediately. So y'all, this is happening. So he gets to stay around being free while he is pending his appeal. While his appeal is pending, like he can just be free. Liz Truss says, I wonder why Charles wasn't feeling her. His mama was feeling her. That's, before she passed away. But no, Charles wasn't feeling her at all. But yeah, that's a good question. Like, what else was happening there? Right. All right, y'all. So that's what's happening with Steve Bannon. Now, a little after Steve Bannon's news, this happened. The January 6th committee issued a subpoena to Trump. I think they were waiting to see the outcome of Steve Bannon so they could just bring it all down. So y'all, subpoena to Trump requires him to return over documents by November the 4th to appear for his deposition on November the 14th. Now, let me see what y'all saying. I know this is Mike Nichols says, as soon as the gavel hit, we be escorted to the paddy wagon. We would. That's what I'm like. you now convicted. You can walk around free. They're not even gonna put you in minimum security jail. You're not gonna even have an ankle monitor on. Nothing. You just free. Okay. So y'all trust me. And again, this is on the ballot tomorrow. I'll be talking about the Democrats. I talked about the Republicans last Tuesday. Tomorrow I'll be talking about the Democrats. Y'all, the Democrats will have to win. Y'all need to hear this. The House and the Senate to see all this come to pass. Really. Now, with that, Liz Cheney, I'm just liking her, digging her, loving her right now. Liz Cheney said, you will not be on television, dude. No. Now, Mrs. My opportunity with my wine, my popcorn, my sandwiches to watch this live testimony. Liz said, no. She says January 6th panel won't accept live television testimony from Trump, from the former guy. Representative Liz Cheney rejected the possibility of letting Trump testify live on television about the direct role that congressional investigators say he played in trying to overturn the 2020 election. This is her direct quote. He's not going to turn this into a circus. She's like, not today, not while I'm still in office. Then she goes on to say, warning the committee will take action if he does not comply with the subpoena. Meanwhile, the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, says Trump, and she quotes, not man enough to testify before the panel. They're going after Homie. They're going after Buttercup. They're going after him. They're like, oh, no. Y'all, he has to be, either he thinks since he has lasted this long with everything that's going on that he can't be touched. Y'all, listen. Now, the Trump organization is set for a criminal trial of off-the-book pay scheme. The jury selection starts today. As a trial against the Trump organization, the holding company for former President Donald Trump, I'm using his name because I got to tell y'all this story, his buildings, his golf courses, and other assets, which is accused of helping some top executive avoid income tax on compensation. Trump signed some of the checks at the center of the case, but he is not charged with anything and is not expected to testify at the trial. If convicted, the Trump organization could be fined more than $1 million, and that's coming from the Associated Press. Now, I told y'all get his emails, right? I told y'all that, right? Yeah, I do. So the latest email, and I don't know why he names his friend, because I am not your friend. He goes, friend, the raid on my Mar-a-Lago home was nothing more than an unhinged political persecution against me. And he got your in all cap, your president. You are not the president. You lost. You lost. You lost, buddy. You lost. You're Big L. You're a loser. For 6 straight years, he says, I've been harassed, investigated, defamed, slandered, and persecuted like no one in American history. Yet, all I've ever wanted and all we ever fought for is to simply make America great again. Really? You harassed Barack Obama for how long? For how long? You harassed the 4 gentlemen. I can't come up with their names right off. With the park in New York. Really? Let's talk about your harassment. You harassed everybody on the debate stage. You harassed Hillary Clinton. You probably harassed your ex-wives, your current wives, your children, everybody else. But let me keep going. He goes, I won't stop fighting. I can hear him now. I won't stop fighting. Now, when the left is coming after me like never before, but I could use the input of my most trusted supporters, like you, my friend. Then he says, the people behind these savage witch hunts have no shame, no morals, no conscience, and absolutely no respect for the citizens of this country or their president. You are not the president. Everyone associated with this travesty will go down in history as arsonists who tried to demolish our justice system, shatter our most sacred traditions, and wipe out the very foundation of our democracy for their own selfish partisan gain. He did not write this, okay? Let's say that first. But no matter what our sick and deranged political establishments throw at me, no matter what they do to me, I will endure their torment and oppression, and I will do it willingly, all for you. They will never get me to stop fighting for you, the American people. Now, You have 10 minutes to respond with a $10 check so we can fight this together. There you have it. There you have it. All of that to ask for some money. All of that to ask for some money. And he didn't write it. He did not write it. Mike says, when it comes to Trump, I'll be like, God, seriously? Yes, Marion, jail time. But here's the sad thing, people are still giving him money. After everything that's coming out, people are still giving him money. People still believe him. People still believe. So we cannot discount these people, but people are still believing him and giving him money. All right, y'all, don't go anywhere. I'm going to bring on Kenny, but then I come back. I have some other very important news that you do not want to miss. Look, as he would say, believe me, but really, I want you to believe me. All right, come on in here, Kenny. Come on in, come on in, come on in.
Hey.
Hey, there's a lot going on in sports, I see.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on in sports. There's a lot going on in sports.
Would you go ahead and give us the scores? And also, y'all, there were so many people who tuned in on Saturday to hear some rundown from Kenny with Game Over. He comes on at 4:30 Eastern time on Saturdays, and the turnout was phenomenal. So thank y'all for supporting him. All right, Kenny, take it away.
All right. Good morning, NewsInMotion family. Welcome to Game Over with me, Kenny Stanley. Hey, it was a great weekend in sports this weekend. Here goes some scores for you. The number one Georgia Bulldogs in college football, the number one Georgia Bulldogs, they was off this past weekend. The number two Ohio State Buckeyes, they crushed Iowa Hawkeyes 54-10. C.J. Stroud woke up in the second half and torched the Hawkeyes with 4 TD passes. The big pass came on a 79-yard strike to Julian Fleming. The Buckeyes' run game was a little bit off this past weekend, but the defense came to have some fun. They had 6 turnovers, and one of those turnovers was a pick six. So big up to the Ohio State defense. Number 3, Tennessee beat UT Martin 65-24. Number 4, Michigan had was off this week. It's like they off every week, but anyway, Michigan was off this past weekend. Number 5, Clemson, they escaped Syracuse, number 14, Syracuse, 27-21. Alabama got back on the winning track. Number 6, Alabama bounced back, and they won over number 24, Mississippi State, 30-6. LSU, everybody slept on them in the SEC, but LSU, they knocked off number 7 Ole Miss out of the ranks of the unbeaten, 45-20. That was a blowout. I mean, they gave Ole Miss a spanking, brought them back to reality. Number 8, TCU, they won by 10 over number 17 Kansas State, 38-28. And number 10 Oregon, they beat the former number 9 UCLA Bruins, 45-30. What a game Saturday night. In the NFL, the Sunday night game was a good one, but it ended with Miami toe tapping to victory, 16-10 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers just can't catch a break. I don't know what's worse between them and the Cleveland Browns. What started out as a back and forth game turned into a smackdown as Kansas City beat the 49ers 44-23. I really do believe the Browns are snake bitten. They lost another game by shooting themselves in the foot. The Ravens topped them 23-20. What's going on with the two of the most decorated NFL quarterbacks to play this game? What's going on with them? They should have retired this past offseason, but they didn't. Tom Brady and that daggone Aaron Rodgers, they look horrible this season. I don't know what's going on with them. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were beat by the Carolina Panthers 21-3, and Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers lost to the Washington Commanders 23-21. The Bengals seem to have found their groove as they're looking like the team that went to the Super Bowl last year, even though they lost, but it's starting to look like they're ready to make another run as they crushed the Atlanta Falcons 35-17. It's like I'm missing something. That's what I missed. How about them Cowboys? That's right. We're back on the winning track. The Cowboys beat the Detroit Lions. They took the roar out of the Detroit Lions 24-6. Dak Prescott returned. He had had a touchdown pass. He looked pretty good. It can be better, but I take the win. Tonight on ESPN, the weekend will wrap up in the NFL with the Bears taking on the Wings in the Monday Night Football game. In Major League Baseball, the World Series is set. The Houston Astros pulled out the brooms and swept the Yankees yesterday, 4-0. Astros beat the Yankees 6-5 to finish off the series. And then the Philadelphia Phillies, they got the gentleman's sweep. They beat the San Diego Padres in the series 4-1, and they won the game yesterday 4-3. Hey, and I want to give a shout out also to the Columbus East High School football team. For the first time since I do believe 1964, they made the state playoffs. They start this weekend. So, hey, big up to the East High School football team. I'm so proud of them. That's sports. Game over. Now back to Gail for more news.
What's up?
What's happening?
Yes, they did great. They did great. And so we'll see how many of us can pack out the stadium on Friday.
It's going to be a blackout. I can't wait.
With that, I have a question for you, because at first I wasn't too sure about the Buckeyes on Saturday, but then they came back, what was it, 54, 57 to 10?
54 to 10.
So here's my question. Do you think a lot of it has to do with the young players now having payment and cars and all of that? Did that help or hurt their ego and mindset when playing football?
It might have a little bit to do with it. You see that all over college football now. It might have a little bit to do with it. Egos are pretty big. Egos was big anyway, but yeah, I do believe the payment, it could be big. I do believe some people read their press clippings also. But Saturday, I think they took a week off and they came back rusty. I mean, they was coming off a bye week. You know, it's not an excuse, but Iowa's defense is better than what people think. And I think it took a minute for Ohio State to catch on to what Iowa was doing. In the second half, they made the adjustment.
All right, just had to ask that question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We'll
see you on Wednesday.
See you Wednesday.
All right, y'all. Here's another piece of information I want us to share, and I saved this for the end before the inspirational message. And that is, as many of you may have found out, that the student debt relief is now in some trouble. 6 Republican states, and I'm going to call them out, and you have to kind of search for them to see who are the 6 states. The states pursuing the lawsuit are Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, and South Carolina. There's 6 Republican states. They're putting a halt to this. They're just mad that the Biden administration has moved this forward. Now, as of the time that this was halted by the judge, there were over 22 million people who have applied, over 22 million. There's now a statement on the websites letting them know that the judge has brought this to a standstill for the moment. The Biden administration, the attorneys have until 6 p.m., I believe, tonight to issue their statement. So a lot's unfolding there. Now, y'all, there are 40 million people who are eligible. And again, as of Friday, as a statement, 22 million had already applied. I want y'all to hear this number. That's almost half. The 40 million is almost half of the 81 million who voted for Biden administration, which means we need to vote. This is on the ballot, okay? Now, here's something that's very interesting. The Supreme Court rejected the request to block Biden's student loan debt forgiveness program. So Justice Amy Coney Barrett denied the emergency application to block the program. Okay, that was filed by Wisconsin taxpayer groups on Wednesday. She blocked it, which was surprising, but she did. So then they went to the lower court. Now, once you at the lower court, it can go to back to the high court, which the high court has already blocked it. Pay attention to what's happening. This prolongs the time. And if the GOP takes back the House and gains the Senate, there won't be any type of student debt relief. I want y'all to pay attention to what's happening. So all registered voters vote. Please vote. Wherever you stand, just vote. Be counted in the vote. Be counted in the vote. And let's not forget the debt relief of people in the Congress who received PPP loans in the millions of dollars. They all received the PPP loans, and then they all received the debt forgiveness. They received forgiveness for millions upon millions of dollars. So, if this lower court, depending upon how the Biden administration responds by 6 p.m., and I did look, it is 6 p.m., they have 6 p.m. Eastern to respond in opposition. If they respond and that judge doesn't accept it, then it petitions to go back to the higher court, which the higher court had already blocked. The Supreme Court has already blocked it. Look at the date, y'all. Today is October the 24th, I believe. This won't get through until after November the 8th, which at that point they go into lame duck season, which takes them into 2023. This is on the ballot. This is on the ballots. Please hear me. So let me give you some pointers to back up what I'm sharing. The coalition, the coalition of Republican states said in its complaint that the Biden administration should not have established a forgiveness program without going through Congress, and claim that the plan will undercut revenue for state entities that rely on federal student loans for profit. Okay. Now, the U.S. District Judge Henry Autry wrote in a 19-page order that the state lacks the standing to write the lawsuit and failed to establish an ongoing injury caused by the program. So really right there, you shouldn't have halted it, but he did. He put a stop to it. Now, next, while plaintiffs present important and significant changes to the debt relief plan, the current plaintiffs are unable to proceed to the resolution of these challenges. Now, by the way, Judge Autry is a George W. Bush nominee. Now, these future lost tax revenues are merely speculative. They're saying, we don't know if this is going to happen. Now, here's the larger picture. The order from the U.S. Court of Appeals, this is coming from CNBC, by the way. The order from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit deals pretty much a blow to millions of borrowers. Now, there's some Republicans out here are like, don't block this. We need their votes. And so in those 6 states, they noticed as of Friday, people running to vote from this group. And they're voting like, we're going with the other person. No matter where we stood before, we're going with the other person. So people are coming out. All of a sudden, millennial numbers jumped when this happened. So they need to pay attention to what's going on here. Y'all, Roe v. Wade has moved down on the chart as most important. Inflation is first. And these students are thinking about inflation. They're thinking about loan forgiveness. They're thinking about the possible $20,000 debt relief. They want to see a change. So they're out here voting. So yeah, that's why early voting is important. So you can help this move forward by voting even today. If you're in a state that's early voting, I'm trying to see if I can find my paper. If you're even in the state for early voting. Okay. So the website has now added a notice that due to the court order, the Department of Education is temporarily blocked from processing debt discharges. However, borrowers can still apply. So y'all don't miss this. Still make sure you are applying. My notes are all over the place today. Make sure you're still applying so that you have all of that information. All right. So early voting, North Carolina, you started October the 20th, Washington, October 21st, Massachusetts, October 22nd, Nevada, October 22nd. Today, early voting has started for Arkansas, Colorado, Idaho, South Carolina, and Texas. Tomorrow, early voting will start for Hawaii, Missouri, Louisiana, and Utah. And then Wednesday, West Virginia. So Some of those are in these 6 states who submitted this to halt this debt relief. So we have to pay attention. Latrice says this is why News in Motion is so vital. So many people who actually need this information will never hear from anywhere else. Thank you, Latrice. And that's our goal to do that. That's our goal to do this. Marion says we absolutely need to vote. Y'all, please pay attention. Isaiah did put in the Ballotpedia piece for the Ohio issue 2. You want to make sure you see that. So y'all, that's the news. That's the news. That's where we are. This is important. This is important. Already, Kevin McCarthy is talking about being the speaker. He believes that the House will go back to the GOP. Mitch McConnell's already talking about being back as the majority leader. He believes that the Senate's going to go back to the GOP. And they're already talking about nothing in the Biden administration will move forward. They will pretty much shut everything down. And if y'all remember, that happened when President Obama was in office. There's a lot on the line. I've been saying since January, maybe even December of 2021, these midterms are the most important, I believe, in our lifetime. So y'all, here's my inspirational message for today, and we're out of here. Cheer more. I want everybody to cheer more. We have to cheer more for one another. We have to encourage people regularly. We have to cheer them on. We have to ignite them. We have to ignite a fire, if you will, a fire in a good way. We have to cheer more for yourselves as well. Cheer more to where people are, you're so contagious. People are saying, what is it about you? And they want to pay attention to what it is that you're doing. And they're excited to support you. I was sitting with a couple of friends of mine yesterday, and it was just amazing how we were just constantly speaking life. I shouldn't say amazing. It was refreshing how we were constantly speaking life to one another, just speaking life, building up, strategizing, looking at ways to get through some things, cheering each other on, reminding each other that we could do this and we have your back. Cheer more, lift up. Not a long inspirational message today, but just those 2 words, cheer more. Cheer more. It does something for you. There's an excitement. When I hear people saying, I'm trying to say this carefully, when I hear people saying, oh, I don't know what to do next, and I start thinking about who they are and what they have to offer, I immediately say, why don't you do this? You have a passion for this. Go for it. I got your back. I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to do whatever I can to see you through, whatever that looks like. Cheer more. Let's take Thursday. It was Isaiah's birthday, his 20th birthday. And we put up his Cash App, and we encourage you to give him a happy birthday, just to cheer this young man on. Y'all know what he could be doing, and he's not doing it. First of all, his parents were hurting, but he's not doing those things. He's out here building a business. So with that, it's not too late to sow into his life. He's out here building a business, a freelance media business, doing videography. Really, he's engaged in this. He's learning from this. He's partaking from this. I'm like, cheer this man on. Cheer more. Cheer more. Y'all see Isaiah? Come on, even his brother who was singing, it's a wonderful world, wonderful life, whatever. You would have thought he was like the Temptations or something. This young high schooler, and then gave his brother a shout out in the middle of the song. Took me out. I was done. Like, what? He did that on beat, on cue, and just knowing the life that Isaac has been through and how he cheered on his brother as people was cheering on him, y'all. Cheering more brings you life. Don't think it doesn't. It brings you life. All right, y'all, that's all I have until tomorrow. You want to have your pen and paper? Y'all, trust me, I'm going to tell y'all up front, where the Republicans had a little brochure front and back, little card, the Democrats have 90 pages, which I have printed off and read all 90 pages. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow. So, and then the following Tuesday, we'll do the independent party, and then we'll be at the elections. All right, y'all, until tomorrow, I'm Gail Dudley. Remember, stay well, and remember, make some bold moves. I'm out.